Hi everybody, this is Noelle from Petitti Garden Centers, and we're in Northeast Ohio, and it has been a very dry summer for us thus far this season. And so we wanted to talk to you about perennials in the garden that really like it hot and sunny and can tolerate some drought. Okay, now caveat to this whole situation is when you're first planting any type of plant, you can't let them go dry. Okay, so that first year, it is really important to stay on top of your irrigation and stay on top of your fertilizer maintenance to make sure you get really good root establishment. Mulching is a factor there too, where we want to keep moisture in around the soil, keep the weeds out. So think about those things. So first year, you kind of want to baby the plants, make sure they get established. And then I'm going to tell you after that, you really get good attributes to these perennials where they can grow on and do their thing, and you don't really have to do a lot to them, okay? So these are, again, sunny, dry, drought-tolerant plants right now, but they've got to be established at least for that first year before they can do that for you. Okay, so keep that in mind. Right here, the coneflowers. Coneflowers are bustin', always midsummer. They look absolutely awesome. There are so many different colors. Taylor will pan over the coneflowers for you. There are just too many varieties to name. However, this orange variety is called Artisan Soft Ombre, and we love it. Or soft orange, not soft ombre, excuse me. And we absolutely love it. It is coupled right here with an Agastaki. Sometimes we call this hummingbird mint. That's a great name. Better than Agastaki, I think. But the hummingbird mint, this is royal raspberry from Proven Winners. Makes a great combo. And the Agastaki and coneflowers, I'll tell you folks, they really do very, very nicely in those drier areas. Now, also to keep in mind, we have a lot of clay soil in this area, so we always want you to mend that soil, make sure that you are getting some drainage in that soil as well. These plants appreciate that type of growing condition, and so it goes along with all of that drier weather and soil conditions too. Two great dry, sunny plants that we have here, the Achillea or yarrow. The yellows are always the classic, and I'm going to tell you probably the most sun tolerant, drought tolerant as well. There are other colors. Their foliage is usually a little bit of like a softer green, a little bit more ferny. But when you look at the yellow foliage here, and this is this is moonshine. I'm sorry, see, it gets wet. It doesn't really like to be wet. It'll kind of brown out. But if you look at the foliage close up, it has that gray cast to it, and it can really take some hot and drought conditions. So it does really, really nicely. I think probably the best out of all of those yarrow varieties that are available. The Artemisia family, okay, this one's great. This is silver mound, of course, nice, lovely, soft mound. Same thing, if you've ever grown this before and you've put it in wet, clayey conditions, guess what? It does not like it. It'll split apart. It'll kind of look really raggedy, and but that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the dry, sunny conditions, okay? So this one will do very, very well. And then right behind me, we have all of the milkweeds, the butterfly weeds here. These guys, again, will do nicely in drier conditions. And I'm going to tell you that some of them can get a little bit aggressive when they're growing. And actually, if you keep them in a drier area, you can kind of slow that spreading down a little bit. So keep those in mind too. At the end of the table, I wanted to show you really quickly, and we'll go, actually, they're starting right here. It's all of the asters. So you see all this green foliage that's running down the side of the table. And I think Radon's favorite is over here, Radon's blue. Yep, it's just starting to come out. So you get a little bit of those cute blue aster flowers. This is a great plant, again, for those sunny, drier areas. We're at a table here in perennials, again, and these are quart size, so they're the smallest perennial that we offer. But this is great as far as that, again, mid-season, hot, dry types of conditions. And these perennials will do very, very nicely. I have butterfly weed here. So this is Asclepias tuberosa with those orangey flowers. I have lamb's ear, so that's Stachy's. The Stachy's family is very, very drought tolerant. You might see some yellowing or browning at the base, but you can clean it up with a little bit of raking and it does really, really great. Right around the corner are hens and chicks, which is one of the easiest perennials to grow in containers. You can leave them outside over the winter and they will come back in a container. Lots of different hens and chicks varieties. The cobweb is blooming right now, those bright pink flowers, but you've got reds and bicolor foliage types. So there's a lot to choose as far as the hens and chicks are concerned. And of course they're gonna do well. And then right across the table, we actually have 2 euphorbia. So that's the same family that a poinsettia is in. So euphorbia, there's a donkey tail spurge, that is the blue one, and we commonly use those in rock gardens and drier conditioned areas. And then cushion spurge is like a yellow green. And with euphorbia, again, they're just, that's their natural growth environment, is to be in drier, sunny areas. So do choose those. Now, right across the aisle, we're right by the grasses. So there are so many different grasses to choose from. I'm standing right by native switchgrass varieties or panicum. And again, any of these are going to do nicely. Your Japanese silvergrass or miscanthus is going to do well. Your Sedum varieties. Okay, this one's Carly Rose. She's so cute. She's early blooming. She's got pink plumes. These grasses are going to do really, really well in those drier, sunny conditions. In fact, if you get grasses into wetter areas, they really don't fill out as best as they can. They get a little stunted too. So keep in mind, you have a lot of options as far as grasses are concerned. You can't have hot and sunny and dry without sedum, of course. They're a perennial succulent. They're also known as the stonecrop family. Lots of different gorgeous varieties. You can just tell from foliage colors all the different attributes that make them look wonderful in the garden for us. We put them way up out of range of most of the sprinklers, because if they get overwatered, they just kind of melt. So this is a plant that really appreciates drier, well-drained soils out there. So a good plant for the heat of the summer for sure. I have Class Ac, which is like a blue-greenish foliage here. You've got bright pink flowers on the top, kind of a mid-sized sedum. Right next to me is called Back in Black. This is a beautiful dark foliage variety. The flowers do come out on the pink side, so really pretty there. I've got a lower ground cover type. This is Boogie Woogie, beautiful variegated type with yellow flowering, so that's really, really nice. And then you've got ground cover types and all different uprights and kind of half highs as well. So there are so many different beautiful sedum to choose from. And if you really don't want to take care of your, perennial plants out there, you want to let your plants grow and really do their thing, sedum's a really good option for that. Hot and dry, again, up here in the sun, Russian sage. You can see the pollinators. This is a very aromatic plant for us. And again, if you've ever grown Russian sage, you've planted it in a poorly draining area, wetter area, it will not survive. It really likes to be out in those dry, sunny spaces with really good drainage, and it will do wonders for you and last forever in the landscape. So look for Russian sage, and of course, couple that. These make great companion plants. Your black-eyed Susans or Rudbeckia, they would always do very, very well in the same conditions as Russian sage. They look lovely together with the spikiness of the Russian sage and that cool periwinkle color, cool foliage, silvery foliage, and then look at the bright green, the daisies with the yellow and the brown eye. You can't go wrong, okay? So these are gonna be great combos in that hot, dry area. We're by the Coreopsis, awesome plant. It doesn't matter if you like the very ferny tick seed varieties or whatever color you choose, you will have good success with the Coreopsis in those hot, sunny areas out in the perennial garden. So many varieties to choose from. So just pick a color and enjoy. Gaillardia, or blanket flower. This is actually our second round of Gaillardia because we bring them in very early season. They are very early bloomers for us. In late spring, typically is when they start going, but you've got spin top series through this area, second round, and they are wonderful native plants, just like the coreopsis, so they really can tolerate, you know, harsher conditions, if you will. Once they get established, again, I always have to say that. Over here on this side, you have windflower or gara. Windflower, wandflower, I've heard it used a different way. I'm just gonna say gara. Gara is a really cool perennial, very short, typically basal foliage. And then what it does is it just throws those beautiful, just wispy stems of flowers up into the area. It is a long blooming perennial. Do look for this plant. It does really, really well. Again, just let it go after you get it established that first year, and it'll fill out and do its thing. Beyond the gara is going to be your liatris. And we were just talking about this in one of our perennial videos, but this is a cool plant. It does have some native genes there. You've usually got the purples and the whites liatris, but again, drier conditions. I've seen liatris grow in parking lot islands and just do its thing. And man, it's spectacular over the summer. We have evening primrose, and I was telling Taylor, I just don't think we give them a lot of love, but they're looking awesome. They really do enjoy those hotter, drier areas. You've got Ozark Sundrop, that larger flowering type, a little bit different foliage, sort of silvery gray. You've got Lemon Drop here. That's just a nice short little variety, really cute as a ground cover. And then look at next to the lavender. Oh my gosh. So lots of different English lavender types, kind of going through their bloom cycles. So we've already had one really good bloom cycle coming into the next bloom cycle, but these two would be great companions. Love that heat. These are Amzonia, and you probably are not too familiar with them. The common name is Blue Star. They are spring bloomers, typically bright blue flowers on the tops. We've got a couple different varieties. This is Amzonia hubrechtii, which is the species form of Blue Star. Beautiful ferny foliage. Obviously, this foliage turns bright gold in late summer, fall. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then right down here is actually a thicker version or species of Blue Star. This one's called Storm Cloud, and it's really great too. So great for hot. Let's give you some dry shade options. So I love this plant. This is Liriope or lily turf. It is a grassy-like perennial plant. It grows up in short clumps, and then it has, and it's just starting to come out, these little purple spikes of flowers here. Really wonderful. There's variegated types. There's just dark green foliage types, whatever you like. Great option for dry shade, or you can put them in sunny spots too. Try Epimedium. This is a great little perennial shade plant. Awesome for underneath those dry trees that are soaking up all the water with their large roots. Epimedium will do a great job for you. Heart-shaped leaves, mounded habit, this is sulfurum, so little yellow flowers that stick up. They're bishop cap flowers, and it's really, really great for dry shade. Hey everybody, we're in the hosta, and I know it seems a little bit strange, but hosta for dry shade conditions is really a good thing. So we're not talking about sun in this area, but of course those drier drought conditions and the heat. And hosta are just really tough plants. So they can grow in that type of condition as long as it's dry shade, right? I have Patriot in my hand. Patriot is a phenomenal hosta. Again, very versatile, and I feel like I've been using versatile a lot, but versatile in the respect that it definitely grows in shade or part shade. It can take some sun as well. So there are many hostas that can take a little bit more sun and actually color up a little bit better if you can expose them to a little bit more sun during the day. So look for those types of hosta. Also, not here right now, we are missing things like Hacknacloa grass. That is your shade tolerant Japanese waterfall grass. It's so pretty. We're just out right now, but that's also going to be a great shade, dry, heat tolerant plant for you. Another one is hellebores or Lenten rose. That one, of course, is our spring bloomer at the time of Lent, long bloomer, beautiful leathery foliage. Guess what? In the shade, very, very little water, it does wonderfully, okay? And even the heat of the summer really doesn't let that foliage die back. It just stays up and really, really nice for you. So there are quite a few others. Oh, and I forgot foam flower too. So foam flower or tiarella is going to be your native foam flower of Ohio. And I'm telling you again, just long lasting, beautiful foliage. You'll really enjoy your perennials for those hot summer days, okay, for sun and for shade. Enjoy.